The best and worst glambot shoots, from Lisa to Jennifer Lopez. There is a Jennifer Lopez movie Hollywood doesn't know what to do with. It's not a rom-com. It's not a star vehicle. It's not a crowd pleaser. It's disturbing. It's cerebral. It's visually insane. And for over 2 decades, it's been quietly dismissed, misunderstood, and shoved to the margins of film history. Tonight, we're making the case that The Cell, released in 2000, isn't just underrated. It's one of the most ambitious psychological thrillers of the 2000s, and arguably its greatest stealth masterpiece. Let's start with the basics. The Cell stars Jennifer Lopez as a child psychologist who uses experimental technology to enter the minds of comatose patients. When a serial killer falls into a coma, she's recruited by the FBI to enter his psyche and locate his final victim before time runs out. That setup alone should have made this a hit. But here's the problem. Hollywood didn't know how to sell it. Was it a serial killer thriller? A sci-fi film? A psychological horror movie? An art house experiment? The answer was yes, and that confused everyone. Studios marketed it like a standard crime thriller. Audiences expected Silence of the Lambs. What they got was something closer to a nightmare gallery curated by a fashion designer with a PhD in psychology. In 2000, Jennifer Lopez was at a very specific cultural moment. She was a pop star, a rom-com lead, a tabloid fixation, a fashion icon. What she was not perceived as: a psychological thriller anchor. And that's exactly why The Cell was doomed on arrival. Critics couldn't separate Jennifer Lopez the celebrity from Jennifer Lopez the performance. They judged the movie through the lens of expectation, not execution. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Lopez is quietly excellent in this film. Her performance is restrained, empathetic, and emotionally grounded, which is exactly what the movie needs. She acts as the human anchor while everything around her descends into madness. She doesn't overplay fear. She doesn't glamorize trauma. She listens, which is rare in this genre. If this role had been played by a prestige actress, the conversation around The Cell would be very different today. If The Cell has aged like fine wine, it's because director Tassim Singh wasn't making a movie for trends. He was making a movie for forever. This film doesn't look like anything else from its era, or frankly, anything since. The visuals pull from Renaissance religious art, surrealist painting, high-fashion editorials, Gothic architecture. Every frame is composed like a painting. Not metaphorically, literally. And here's why that mattered. Most thrillers of the 2000s were obsessed with realism. The Cell rejected realism entirely. It understood something crucial. The mind of a serial killer shouldn't look realistic. It should look mythic. Vincent D'Onofrio's serial killer isn't terrifying because of what he does. He's terrifying because of how his inner world works. Inside his mind, he's not a criminal. He's a god. A child. A victim. A monster. The movie doesn't excuse him, but it explains him in a way most thrillers are too afraid to attempt. Instead of cheap jump scares, The Cell uses symbolism, trauma architecture, emotional logic. This is a film that treats violence as psychological consequence, not spectacle. That alone puts it ahead of most thrillers from its era. In 2000, audiences weren't ready for this movie. The cultural climate favored fast pacing, clear moral binaries, plot over atmosphere. The Cell asked for patience. It wanted viewers to sit with discomfort, decode imagery, accept ambiguity. Critics at the time dismissed it as style over substance. But here's the thing they missed. The style is the substance. The visuals are the psychology. The excess is the point. Today, this kind of filmmaking would be celebrated on film Twitter, dissected on YouTube, and hailed as visionary. Back then, it was just too weird. Look at modern prestige thrillers now. They lean into visual symbolism, abstract storytelling, psychological interiority. Movies and shows like Hannibal, Mindhunter, Black Swan, Annihilation all owe something to The Cell. Tassim Singh was ahead of the curve, and Hollywood punished him for it. Instead of becoming a reference point, The Cell became a footnote. Not because it failed, but because it didn't fit the industry's comfort zone. A stealth masterpiece isn't one that wins Oscars. It's one that survives mislabeling, grows in reputation quietly, reveals new layers on rewatch. The Cell does all three. Watch it today and you'll notice themes of inherited trauma, commentary on control and vulnerability, a deep empathy for damaged minds. It's not just a thriller. It's a meditation on abuse, identity, the cost of entering someone else's pain. That's not shallow. That's brave. Hollywood buried The Cell because it didn't know what to do with a movie that was too artistic for mainstream audiences, too dark for Jennifer Lopez's image, too symbolic for critics chasing realism. But time has been kind to this film, and history is slowly catching up. The Cell isn't a cult curiosity. It's not a guilty pleasure. It's a visionary psychological thriller that trusted its audience and paid the price for it. And in doing so, it became one of the greatest stealth masterpieces of the 2000s.